Hi, sweet babies. Romey is here. And we have a very different kind of vibe going on here today. I messed up. Let my bananas get they got a little beat up. But that doesn't mean that they're not good anymore. And that doesn't mean that they can't be a beautiful thing at the end of the day. I'm about to make some banana bread. But while I make my banana bread, I'm gonna talk to you guys about my journey. And that is my journey through therapy and how I got there. And we're gonna talk about domestic violence because that's the biggest reason why I'm in therapy now. And it's a pretty serious topic. I do try to keep the Romey videos, you know, normally light-hearted. So I do understand if you don't want to watch. If you're one of those people that could possibly get triggered by things like this, then just beware. That's what we're going to be talking about. Just want to share my story with you guys because it gets intense at parts. And it gets really scary at parts. And I get pretty down at parts. But I'm here. And I'm happy. And I'm alive. And I'm doing the best that I can every day, and that's what's important. And I want you guys to do the best that you can every day because life can be shitty sometimes, and it's hard to get up every day. It's hard to fight these battles every single day, and I get it. As always, I want you guys to know you're not alone, and I want you to know that there are options out there, and I just want to share a little bit of my story so you guys can be aware of what's out there. So I guess that I will start basically, I mean, the earliest that I can for sure say is like high school, that I had a lot of anger issues, and like the slightest thing would piss me off. That was not okay. Like anger issues, you know, you should talk to someone about that. I was really unhappy. I was really unhappy throughout a lot of high school. And you know, you were judged by what you wore and how you looked and your weight and things like that. And I was not a petite high schooler. Hard for me. And you know, my family wasn't rich, like by any means. So I just always felt like I didn't fit in, and it was just an unhappy time for me. And I didn't understand, like, went to school with like a lot of religious people. He's like shoving that in my face. Frustrating, and I just never felt really understood. I had one male best friend that him and I were just inseparable. I had told him once that, you know, I really did. I felt suicidal, and I just was so unhappy with life. And I was fat. I was too fat for anyone to love me. Shit you guys not. I literally had not one single date throughout my entire years of school. I never had a boy ask me to a dance. Never had a boy ask me out. I had a boyfriend. And I genuinely thought, like, there is something wrong with me. Everybody's dating everybody, and nobody wants to date me, and I don't fit in with these people, and I'm angry all the fucking time, and I just want to, like, break things when I'm angry. It sucked. It sucked. And when I told him that I was suicidal, he freaked out on me, luckily, and was like, I don't want to hear you talking about that. You are so much better than that. Fuck everybody we're going to school with. You don't need to worry about them. You're so much better than all these people. You are beautiful. You are gonna find someone who loves you. I need you. I need you on this earth. Because him and I, I'm telling you guys, like, we were inseparable. Like, we really helped each other make it through high school. And so, you know, he made it very clear to me, like, if you don't think anybody on this planet needs you, just know that I need you. And I am pretty sure that that saved my life for a few years, because it genuinely made me feel like, oh, okay, I am worth something. You know, I do have a purpose on this earth. Like, somebody does give a shit about me. So, all right, cool. And even if it's just my one best friend, I don't care. Like, that's enough for me. Together, we made it through high school and a few years after. And, you know, as always, life happens. And, you know, we just drifted apart. But I am very thankful for the fact that him and I had one another. I gained much more confidence in myself, and I went to college for a little bit, and I dyed my hair, and I lost some weight, and I really like was finding myself. I was really genuinely pleased with what I was doing in my life, and I had a kick-ass job. That's where I met David, actually. I was very proud of myself. As much as I was proud of myself and the journey that I was on, a lot of shit was still happening in my life. And so in a span of a couple of years, my parents split up, and my mom was doing some crazy shit that I was just not approving of. My dad and I were just not getting along, and it fucking sucked, and I just wanted to get out of there. And so, you know, me and Christian got a place together, and then after that, like, my best friend's little brother got shot and killed in a gang fight. And then a month after that, her dad, who basically raised me, and a month after Tariq was shot, he went and killed himself, and it like flipped our worlds upside down. And I went to a lot of funerals growing up. I experienced a lot of death growing up, but I never understood suicide. I never understood it. Then I felt suicidal, and then my best friend helped me, and then I was like, okay, I get why people are doing it. How sad. Didn't they have at least one person that could have helped save them? I saw how it ripped my best friend's family apart, and I like pretty much vowed like, okay, well, I'm not gonna be doing that. It fucking sucked. It still sucks to this day. Like, it completely affects everybody to this day. So there's no getting around it. It just sucks. I'm sorry, time just kind of blurs together after a while for me. A couple years after that, so after that, Christian and I were together still, and married at this point, I'm pretty sure. And then his mom committed suicide. So once again, here I am in the middle of this, like, what? Like, what? And it was rough. It was really rough. And I'm not gonna get into that one because that'll for sure get me emotional right now, and we're not getting emotional yet. But that was fucking rough. And I talk to her every day because sometimes I'm still very upset with her because obvious reasons, but that one was rough. And we took a while to come back from that one. And again, still affected by that every day. And after that, life just continued to get rough for Christian and I, and we went to go move in at my mom's house that she was living in with her new husband, because they told us that they were going to help us, you know, like with rent, you know, they'd like give us a break on rent so that we could like save money and like get back on our feet. And I ended up quitting my really good job because it wasn't making me happy anymore, because I was working in a cubicle every day, and I just felt like I was a slave to the man, and I just was unhappy, and like brokers are really mean, and I was just sick of dealing with them. And so together we, like, you know, agreed that we were gonna leave Orange County and we were gonna go out to a different county and to a place that we don't know anybody, and you know, it would make like his commute to work longer, but he was gonna do it for me because I was just super down. I was in a really dark hole. I was in a really bad place. I was crying all of the time. Everything was miserable. I was unhappy. I was picking fights. I was like huge. Oh my God, I was huge. I was huge. And it just was not good. And together we agreed to go out there. And while we were out there, we ended up splitting up. So we didn't make it last while we were out there, and he ended up going back to his roots. And while I was out there, my mom's husband got custody of like his 2 kids. And one night, the eldest, who was already 18, you know, 200-pound Neanderthal, and he was getting in my mom's face, and I went to like obviously disrupt it, and he slammed me into a wall. And I wanted to call the cops, but her husband was like begging me not to because he was going to resolve it, and calling the cops wasn't going to resolve anything, and that was mistake number 1. So this is why I'm sharing this story, because I need you guys to know that if you are in this kind of a situation, it's not going to stop. And you do need to tell someone, and you do need to call the cops, and you do need to get authorities involved, because you will get hurt, and they're not going to stop the abuse, and there is no boundaries for people like that, and you deserve better. So a week after me not calling the cops foolishly, he broke my nose by punching me in the face, which then the cops were involved. He got arrested. I had to go to the hospital. It became a felony because my nose was broken, and I pretty much left within a couple weeks because my mom and her husband chose to pretty much quiet me. They didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to talk about what happened. They didn't want to talk about what we were going to do. They didn't talk about how it made me feel. And there was even a point that her husband put blame on me. So I left as quickly as possible and came back to Orange County. Started with basically my car and my luggage and Christian, of course, because life's funny that way. And tried to move on with my life. But when you go through something like that, oh, you really, we're not born with the tools to just know how to get through things like that. We do need help. We need to be taught the right tools. And so shortly after, I was pretty, pretty messed up. I was very paranoid. I had pepper spray like in my purse, in my car, on me at all times. I didn't really want to walk anywhere like at night. If I did, I'd get super just anxious, like to the point where I'd make myself sick. The paranoia was probably one of the scariest parts because I had never really acted like that before. I was being very, very irrational often, and very angry and very confused because pretty much the day that I moved out, that was it. I never heard from my mom again. And as far as the domestic violence situation, he bailed himself out of jail that night on his own school money. And I just actually learned this week because I'm trying to take care of the hospital bills that are still being sent to me. And I guess after he bailed himself out, he tried getting a lawyer to reject his case, and the DA rejected it from further investigation. And then my case basically just sat there in space, and he's never had to go to court or trial for anything, so that's fun to learn still. But the plus side of learning that, now, getting a little ahead of ourselves, is I dealt with it just fine. Because, back to the timeline, I lost it. I was not okay. And I pretty much just one night crumpled up in my room and lost it, and I looked up for how I felt, and it was basically the suicide hotline is what it was telling me to call. So I did, and it was probably one of the best decisions that I could have ever done. And luckily, Christian and I have really good health insurance through Kaiser, and Kaiser has a really good mental behavior program in general. And that's where the hotline ended up leading me to. And I spoke to the behavioral hotline through Kaiser, which I still talk to this day. And they basically told me that, you know, they asked me enough questions, and it was clear that I didn't need to be, like, picked up by the cops or an ambulance or anything, that was safe to be home, but I wasn't safe in my head. And so I signed up for an intensive outpatient program, and it was a 2-week program, 2 hours a morning, I believe. And I had 2 counselors with us every day, and I learned a lot in there, and I also learned that I still needed a lot of help. And those 2 weeks were really great, but that's all it was, you know. It was just 2 weeks. My counselors had to let me go, and they luckily knew that letting me go just alone was not going to be okay. So they set me up with a psychiatrist, and they set me up with a therapist, and together they worked with my primary care physician, and luckily, very, very luckily, they really figured out the perfect person for both positions. I'm sorry, you guys. I really wanted to be strong throughout this whole video, but that's life. So I believe I met with my therapist first, and we had a really, you know, interesting session, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but I knew that this was very strange new territory. So luckily, you know, I went back to my second one, and I love her so much, and I've been to her every month since, and she really gets me through a lot. So and I met with my psychiatrist as well, and he was able to determine through the therapy evaluation and the outpatient program evaluation and his own questions through me that we were dealing with a lot. And so he diagnosed me with, you know, severe depression, which was pretty hard to hear because there's different levels, and to hear that it was severe just made me feel like, oops. That seems like it's pretty bad. Seems like I should have gotten this, you know, taken care of before, but what do we know, you know? And anxiety and PTSD and insomnia and paranoia, and it was really affecting my health. I was really sick a lot. And so we put me on antidepressants, and it was a really low dosage because I'm a really like holistic person, and luckily my doctors take me seriously when I explain to them. Sorry about that. My neighbor needed help with something. Luckily for me, my doctors take me very seriously when it comes to me being holistic. So I inform them, you know, I really don't want to be pumped with medicines, and I really don't want to take like a ton of stuff, and I really don't want to be taking something that's gonna like alter me and who I am and all this stuff. And so we put me on a very low dosage just to try it out. And luckily for me, it ended up being exactly what I needed. It was pretty scary, you know, it was pretty scary because I pretty much my whole life, like there's such a stigma in society of like, oh, you have to take crazy pills, like blah, blah, blah. And like, it just made me feel, I don't know. I had so many doubts and so many silly thoughts in my head, and I of course shared that with the psychiatrist, and he was like, no dude, I get it, a lot of people feel the same way, but that's okay because we're just gonna try it, and if you don't like it, you know, you stop taking it. That's as simple as it is. And it was really nice to know that he trusted that I was so uneasy about the process and that we were gonna just try it. So it was really nice. It was really nice to have that. And I went home and I started to take my medication every day, 2 times a day. And then I just kept going to my therapy, and I noticed a lot of changes. And I noticed that life was getting a little bit easier to deal with. And that was really, really, really nice. Life started to get a little bit easier to deal with. And I noticed a lot of changes, and it was really, really nice. Like, I was stronger than the crap situation that I had been put into. I really noticed a lot of just, I wasn't so angry at everything. My irritability was just like a lot less common and a lot less frequent and a lot less severe. And I felt so much more like clear-headed. It was really nice. It was really, really nice. And don't get me wrong, things would still piss me off and still do piss me off all day long, every single day. Like, I can't stand bad drivers. Don't even get me started, right? So all the time still I'm on the road, and it makes me loathe humans, but I get through it, and I'm like much more like, I don't let it derail my entire day. And it's really nice, y'all. It's really nice. And the paranoia came down a lot, because I'm not kidding you guys, like, I would see people that looked like him and I would get triggered. I would see just men that looked shady and I would be triggered. Like, just all kinds of stupid stuff. I didn't want to do a lot of things. I've had a lot of trust issues, and you know, it was nice to like let that go. And I felt a lot better about being alone, and I felt a lot better about like just getting through life in general. I felt like, you know what, I got this. Like, I'm gonna have my moments, but I'm just gonna work through the moments, and then I'm gonna be okay. And that was something that was so mind-blowing to me. I had never been taught that in I had never been taught that it's okay to feel angry. You just have to see the anger through. Like, that was mind-blowing to me. And my counselors were teaching me, like, because, you know, I was fucking pissed at my mom. I still am to this day. Like, I literally have zero relationship with my mother. But I've learned a lot of stuff, and I've learned to forgive her because it's not my fault she fucked up. And I've learned that I'm probably not ever going to have a relationship with her, and that's pretty much okay. Like, that's just how it's going to be. Hard to swallow those pills, but it was nice to swallow those pills and finally get them out of my throat. And I also learned that there's really not anything that we can do about other people and their actions and their stupidity and their selfishness. And like, we cannot let it derail us like on a regular basis. We can have our moments. We are totally allowed to have our moments, but you just got to work through it. Like, and there's a lot of things that you can learn how to work through it. And so I learned like anchoring techniques. So a lot of times if I'm like, I still have a lot of social anxiety. I have really bad, like Disneyland's hard for me, y'all. On a real level. I love my job, I love what I do, but it is fucking hard to deal with people just slamming in your face and in your kneecaps and stepping on you, and they just don't care, and people just run you over and they don't care, and they shove you and they don't care. And like, it's really hard to deal with huge crowds, but I've learned how to anchor myself. I've learned a lot of like deep breathing techniques. That's helped me a lot. Just a lot of distraction tools, basically, to kind of like keep you there, but also remove you from the moment, because it happens, and your mental illness can overwhelm you, but that's just how your brain happens to be wired, and it's not your fault. And you can work with it, and you can be like, what's up? Hey, Paranoia, I know, this is a super scary moment right now, right? But we're gonna get through it. And it was really nice to have people on my side, and together through therapy and my medication and my frequent check-ins with all my, you know, physicians. I'm okay. I'm really okay. And I have my bad days, but I'm so much more ready for anything that gets thrown my way than I ever used to be. And that is so important to me. And that's why I'm sharing this story with you guys. And again, I apologize because we got pretty emotional, and I didn't want to get that emotional with you guys. But like I say, shit happens. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy that I have this platform to share my story with you guys, because I've had a lot of people come forward and they've told me that they are seeking therapy and they're seeking help, and they're, you know, interested in those hotlines. And if I can help one of you guys out here with this video, then it was worth it. And I guess I'm gonna sum it up. And I didn't finish making my banana bread on camera, but I had this really cool analogy of like, you don't have to be, you know, a rotten banana forever. You can be a beautiful banana bread. But I fucked up, and I've just been telling my story to you guys. And you know, we're only halfway through the banana bread, but that's okay. That's okay. Because the analogy still works. You can still be some banging banana bread at the end of the day, and you can be luscious and like warm and satisfying, that makes people happy. And it's okay that at the beginning of the day you are a fucking bruised up, beat up, just fucked up banana. It's okay. We're all a little bruised on the inside. Some of us, unfortunately, get bruised on the outside, and it fucking sucks. I was so scared, man. They legit told me I broke my nose, and I was like, this is my face. I make money with this face! It was really traumatizing in that moment. Oh, God. It's not funny, but I have to laugh about it now because there's nothing else I can do about it. I mean, I am okay. And I get up every day, and I live in a beautiful apartment with the people that I love, and I have a really good life. Like, I'm really fucking blessed, y'all. Like, I'm really blessed. And I say blessed broadly because I work really hard. So a lot of my blessings, I believe, are because I put out hard work into the universe, and whatever you put out into the universe comes back threefold. So, moral of this video. No, I don't like moral. I don't like the word moral. So, ending. We're gonna end up this video. We're just gonna sum it all up. We're gonna sum up the video with, there is help. You do not need to kill yourself. I promise you. I fucking promise you. I want you on this planet, and plenty of other people want you on this planet. And it may not feel like you are aware of that right now, but I promise you we want you here. And I promise you that there are people who are willing to listen to you, and I promise you that there is help out there. And it may take some trials and tribulations. I was very, 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 very lucky to have really good health insurance that helped me find the right people like pretty quickly. But I also made it very clear when I reached out for help, I need help, like now. Like, we're not okay, and you need to make that clear. You need to let somebody know you're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay, because we're here for you. And if you guys want more information on anything like that, you just let me know. You guys all know. You can leave me comments. You can email me at ladyromey@gmail.com. You can Instagram, DM, Twitter, whatever you guys feel comfortable with. If you want to share any of your stories that you're comfortable with in the comments, so that other people who may feel like, well, Sarah and I are the only people who are going through it, you know, nobody else knows what we're going through though. Feel free to share your stories, but by all means, you guys are not obligated to share anything, because I know how uncomfortable it can be. And if this has helped you in any sort of way, I would really appreciate a comment, just so that I know that you guys are listening and you guys know that there is more out there. And if you have any like outlets, or if you have any resources that you would like to share, please also leave that in the comments below. And please, 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 please keep your head up. Please keep your loved ones close. Please take care of yourself. Self-care is so important. I cannot even stress that enough. And we're gonna talk more about self-care, and we're gonna talk about karma, and we're gonna talk about a lot of cool stuff this week. Please don't ever, ever, ever forget, if nobody loves you, Romey loves you. I love you guys so much.